All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, to Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. And for those who are listening on YouTube Live or on Facebook Live, or those who are listening to the recording, I am so grateful for your presence and your time. I know there is so much competing for your time and attention these days, but you're not going to regret it because we have an amazing guest today who's going to bring just lots of light and joy and insights today to all of us. And I cannot wait. So thank you so much. And we are going to deliver you something very special. So Empower TV is dedicated to bringing you outstanding leaders, thinkers, pioneers, and change makers in the area of individual and community health. And the single goal is to bring you inspiration to take action and empower yourself. So today, like I said, we have a very special guest, and I'm so delighted to have her here and very grateful. Her name is Sydney Campos, and Sydney is a visionary, wayshower, intuitive healer, and author of the Empath experience. Sydney offers guidance to all who are called to live consciously and fulfill their soul purpose with playfulness, authenticity, and mastery. In addition to being a seasoned business advisor and holistic health coach, Sydney also shares her expertise through multidimensional healing, self-mastery courses, coherence consulting, mentorship, and the Visionary Souls podcast. She is devoted to creating heaven on earth in all moments. Sydney has been featured in Forbes, MindBodyGreen, Refinery 29, Bustle, PureWow, and New York Magazine. She gratefully resides at home on the island of Maui. Wow. Yay, let's create some heaven on earth. How about that?
Here we are. We're here right now. Yes.
Welcome, Sydney. So lovely to see you here. And I am just delighted with your presence and your bright, shiny spirit.
Oh, thank you, Monica. It's so beautiful to be right now here with you too. And I just feel a lot of love. I feel a lot of gratitude. I feel a lot of celebration right now for
Yes.
the path that we've kind of gone through to arrive to this moment, and especially just in meeting you and the context in which we met months ago. And it's so nice to be with you now. We're both totally different humans now.
Yes, it's amazing how things are changing, and they're changing so fast and so rapidly. And I'm just every day I wake up and I feel it's a different reality. So and so yes, and it is. So it's so lovely to have you here and just kind of reconnect after that. I've several months that I've met you at Odyssey in November, and we can definitely talk a little bit more. And really, I want to invite you to share with us, your messages and what's on your heart and your mind today. So, but let's just get started. Like, tell us. So, what's brewing today? How is it going? How's it going in Maui?
Yeah, every day really is so different. Every moment, it's timelessness is a thing. It's very every moment. Wow. I'm celebrating right now this moment. I feel really refreshed. I spent the morning at the beach and just doing a really long walk along one of the most beautiful beaches on earth here in Maui, and I was listening to this incredible podcast with this being that my friend just put on my radar. His name is Bayo Akomolafe, and he is like just such medicine. His words, his poetry, the way he describes the world and what's unfolding. I was just feeling such a transmission through his languaging, and it opened me in so many ways. I felt my body just unlocking, listening, and it was just so beautiful. And I guess I say that because I'm present to how us sharing in this moment and you creating this platform, and we get to unlock new potentials, and we get to upgrade consciousness, we get to create healing. It is so powerful. Our sharing is so powerful. So I thank you for the opportunity to just be here today and honor our presence. Something he was reminding me of, and something that I think about frequently, is just our presence and how valuable our presence is. And in my own path, I'm constantly working, striving. I don't know. I don't even like those words anymore. remembering just how innately valuable I am without needing to do anything, without needing to go and serve in any particular outward way. You know, just my presence on earth, just your presence on earth here, and radiating the frequency that you bring, the very unique energy that you bring through your being, is having such a profound impact. And you do not need to know necessarily how you are impacting to know that you are valuable, to know that your presence is so needed.
Wow. It's such a beautiful message for everybody, I feel like a lot of times we're so trapped in the idea that we have to deserve it to be here, or deserve to actually shine our vibration, our radiance, and our messages. But what about if we don't?
Yeah, I completely feel that. In the last 24 hours, I actually had a really breakthrough moment of, that deepening of awareness of my own worthiness. And it's such an intimate expression. It's hard to give words to some of these expressions. I feel in my body like a sensitivity, almost like I could cry, and feeling into that sensation again.
Yes.
And I was crying yesterday. And it was crying with such a feeling of joy and honor and privilege at beholding, what feels to be like the opportunity that I've always dreamed of receiving, which came in the form of working with an organization and being with a team and a collective of people that I'm just so honored to even spend time with, let alone build a company with and work with and learn from. And just really feeling into the vision that is held in that container, and just feeling myself like overwhelmed almost with this potential and this possibility. And am I worthy of having everything that I've ever dreamed of in so many ways just simply arrive all around me organically, almost so quickly I didn't even notice as it was happening.
Wow, I love this. I can feel your energy, and it's just, that speaks for itself, Wow. So can you tell us more about how was your journey when you arrived to this place? If there's any highlights, or here's my little puppy visiting.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a sweetie. He looks like a person.
He does. I think he wants to partake in the energy today.
Oh, I love that. Oh, what a sweetie. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, I know that your journey has been really winded, and there's been a lot of different things. So of course, I'm not going to invite you to talk about everything, but if you can tell us more about, where you come from, and where you've been to arrive to this beautiful place.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a really long story, and sometimes it's just really short and simple. And I really enjoy experiencing more simplicity now, and just holding myself in that, space, like being concise, listening for the right words. Wow, I feel like I've lived so many lifetimes in just this one, as I know so many of us have. And in a weird way, I also feel like in this moment, I'm like being born again as a different human in a totally different timeline. Like I feel the completion of my old life, and all the old ways of being, and all of my constructs, and all the stories I would have told you about where I come from and how that makes me who I am. I feel all of that dissolving in a way I've never experienced. It's just I'm dissolving into what feels true, is to share how I feel like in this moment I'm in a dissolution, like a dissolution and a detachment from story, and wanting to experience myself and others without any story. And just, can we feel who we are underneath all of that? And that's a very intimate process to be within yourself. And this time we're in, this pandemic time, it's like, I feel like we're all in a way giving ourselves that medicine to finally be with ourselves and feel who we are without story and all these identities and externalities that we've let define us. And all that's to say is, I've identified with so many different stories over my life. In this life, I've like lived out and maybe mastered the storylines, the narratives of, like a drug addict, an alcoholic, a really, really genius child with a lot of psychic sensitive gifts and intuition and great power and a bright light, and didn't know where to fit in or how to fit in, and didn't have people around me that could really support me at the level that I needed to be myself. And all that's to say is I got to learn to source, or I am learning always now to source what I always sought outside from within. And I've done so many cool things. I've traveled all over the place. I wrote an awesome book. I've gotten to support hundreds of people all over the place over the last couple of years. I used to have a full-time job in like advertising and operations for, media company. And it's just so cool to see how, I can just take all of that in. And I feel this sense of deep gratitude and kind of like almost a comedic joy at beholding how all of that experience and all the weirdness and awkwardness and like there's just no mistakes, there's no failures. All of it has prepared me so perfectly to receive what's now opening up for me, in terms of like, wow, it feels like my gifts are being really activated now. Like, wow, what I'm really here for, my contribution, my unique contribution on earth is like being revealed to me in a new way, but it makes perfect sense. It's not even new. It's like all the things I've gotten experience in are perfectly tailored to now this opening of, oh my God, I can just do this. I can just be myself. And being that is like this with such an impactful contribution, particularly within New Earth conscious organizations, leadership and development. And I just feel so expanded right now by like at seeing all the potentials that are opening up.
Wow. Wow. I am just loving it because I can feel it's almost like we came to the planet and just like experienced all those different things and sometimes took them seriously and it was just all those stories and all those different identities and everything just kind of accumulated and I was this person, I was that person, and then I do feel that too, it's dissolving. You can just like go and just stop being so serious about it, and there is like the deeper level of truth of who we are as human beings beyond the stories that we have access to on this timeline that we are creating. It feels like heaven.
Pure presence. And as you say, human being, it's like I hear that word for the first time. Like there's all these words or encodements that we use without maybe thinking about their precise meaning. Like we're human, we acknowledge each other as human beings, but how are we being? How have we been being? How have we been being if our name or identity is to be? And yet we're evolving out of this. Oh my gosh, this guy Bayo, again, his words are so powerful. And he said, we're speaking about the reference of, oh my God, it was so powerful. This idea that, as human beings, in a way, in our colonial structure of life and society and productivity and capitalism, it's like, in a way, it's been like, that we've subjected ourselves to so much violence.
Yeah.
Like it's almost violence, the way that we're conditioned to be hyper productive and always moving and busy and thinking and like we have to act and contribute in order to define our value and worthiness. And so we're in the midst of this massive, it's just so exciting to feel this massive dissolution of all of that and a return to simplicity and being and just giving ourselves permission to be, giving ourselves that full permission. And in our own permission giving, we can't help but be a permission for others to feel that expansion.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Honestly, there's like not really much words to use right now. not many words to put into it. But I love your vision and just the energy of it, and that feel, that sense of just lightness, and that dissolution of the struggle. And I feel it's a collective call. Like it's not just single people that are accessing this. It's we kind of riding on the wave of this timeline or this consciousness that I think the collective is yearning for, because almost like we've completed a lot, and we've completed a lot of the that journey of actually being violent towards ourselves by putting such high demands and performing and doing and being this or that. But now we can just be being.
It's that simple. And we really do lose a need for language even. I think I think about this frequently because I'm super telepathic, and I like sometimes find just sharing in presence. It's like, you and I are having so many conversations right now beyond the words that are coming.
Yes.
And in a way, it's like so much more desirable and satisfactory to my being to just like, tune in with this underlying frequency that we both share and amplify. And it's like I can feel you more beyond the words that you say. And it's like that's the experience that I crave with others, like that true presence, that true authentic expression, and I guess I crave that in myself. I crave that feeling of my own frequency, unsullied or not deterred by language and the different stories that are so programmed in our language, the different identities, the separation that comes forth in our language, which is a way that we've learned to categorize and make sense of everything when really, maybe we're not here for that.
Yeah. Yes. I think that was the story. That was the story. I think we just don't want to be there anymore. I think it's like, where do we desire to be? Where do we want to be? I don't want to be in separation. I think nobody really wants to be in separation anymore. But it takes some courage to be in that place of just pure connection and no words.
Where we're at right now collectively is this literal, we want to be in unity, right? And we've known this, we felt it, we've been tracking this for a while, and right now we're all we're just having the magnifying glass, put over ourselves around the ways in which we are not in harmony within ourselves, because that's what's required if we're going to play with everybody else. What in me is in the way of that? Because if it's our natural state of being to be at one with all and to be in union, it is a natural state. It is a natural state to be in presence. Anything that feels like it's in the way of that has been learned and can be unlearned, including fear, including scarcity, including like just these states of being that feel so highlighted right now, actually, are being amplified to be transmuted. And for people my prayer is that myself and all individuals who feel these highlights or just, amplified sensitivity to, ways in which we're not in unity and harmony within ourselves, ways in which we're out of integrity with ourselves, ways in which we may be feeling like dishonest with ourselves, just within ourselves. This is all up right now for all of us to really be with. And it is the preparation, it is the initiation into unity, into connection with all, into intimacy, into like the kind of loving support and just family that I know we all remember. And I know we all remember that that's why we're here at some level.
Yes. Wow. So how do we work with those magnified expressions? How do we flow with them and allow them to just flow out? All those dissonant energies, what do we do with them, if anything?
I think I answered with an example. You can just breathe.
Yeah, just breathe.
Because
Let it
there's
go.
there's so many, I mean, honestly, yes. And there's so many ways and there's so many paths. And I'm like laughing right now because somehow I wrote a book called What to Do When You Feel Everything. And there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of practices.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all great. There's a lot of modalities and there's a lot of healers and there's so much great support available to all of us. But really, I feel like in our evolution right now, it's like, wow, how can we make this so simple? If our innate state of being, if our true being is present, is calm, is relaxed, is at one with all of life, is just in the flow, because that's what life is. It's a flow. We are the flow, and if we can recognize that that's who we are, it's not so complicated. Suddenly there's not such a complex path to follow, to deconstruct and decondition and de-traumatize, and it just all becomes a big release. It's like, so I would ask, and for each individual person it's different, it's a totally unique expression, this path of release and remembering. It's unique, but it seems to me a common thread throughout all the paths I've seen, at least, is to breathe, like to really make your focus, a consistent focus on full breathing, complete breathing all the way in. And that's not easy for most people, like to really actually breathe all the way into your whole body. And as you practice that, so much is naturally released, so much old energy, conditioning, whatever it is that you're holding on to that's holding you in some story. It's really as simple as that. And I mean, the other level of this, I guess, that we're kind of identifying here is, wow, I feel like there's a call to come into, there's a somatic and a feeling experience needed, right? To move energy, to release story, to arrive into presence, right? To move your energy so that more of what's underneath, that divine presence that you are, can simply be felt and can have space to take over, to expand naturally. And then the other piece here I think we're getting into is acknowledgement and even gratitude for the stories that have created certain energy in the first place, or have created certain pain or wounding, or there's a calling to come into completion right now more than ever. I feel this in my own life, like so much completion is now available. I feel this urgency to like really identify, wow, where in my life are there open energetic loops? Where is there any draining energy right now? Because there is this bright future that is just ready to land. It's ready to land, but it must have a clear space to land. It must have a clear, stable place in which it can anchor. And so what's in the way of having a clear and stable, and I don't mean, still necessarily. Stability doesn't necessarily mean like you're just still forever and stagnant. I guess it means more clarity. That's how I mean it. Like a clear place for this new, fresh vision to land, more of yourself to expand into. And so there's a celebration process or a gratitude needed in this completion of, okay, wow, if I'm carrying this stuck energy or pain or wounding, or the same scenario feels to be presenting itself in my life, it's showing up to teach me something. So what am I learning? What am I now ready to become complete with in terms of these lessons? Are you really acknowledging in your healing process the lessons that you are learning and what you are really now willing to complete, what you are now ready to fully integrate and embody and kind of close the loop on, which can kind of be an intellectual process. For me, it feels like a multidimensional process. It's like a meditation. It's with breath, it's with movement, but there is a recalling of, your story, yourself, and then coming into a finality of some of these stories that feel just ready to move out of, to let go of.
Wow. Gratitude comes to mind, being grateful for the stories, because that really, I think that ultimately let us lets us just release them and don't create more struggle. But I'm grateful for that story. I'm grateful it happened. I'm grateful for who I was at that time, because it brought me to who I am right now. And in the future, my future self will thank me.
Yeah, and you can even tune in with your future self. That's a great example of timeline healing. Rewriting our story, living the story that you really want to live. You know, you can rewrite that at any time you like.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So what is the place of the community and connecting with others and creating those collective spaces and experiences?
Oh man, it's everything. It's everything in terms of this process of especially accelerated healing. You know, I find that accelerated healing and awakening is possible when we gather in community and create an amplified field of potential. And, you know, in the presence of other reflections, we can more accurately pinpoint within ourselves the unconscious energy, patterns, wounding, triggers, whatever you want to call them. We can see that in ourselves. You know, I alone in my little echo chamber, in my little paradise house in Maui, in my energy bubble, like, yes, I'm aware of certain things occurring and healing and opportunities to expand and grow, but, you know, I'm actually in an accelerated healing path as soon as you put me in a group of other people, especially peers, especially people that I maybe look up to or that I want to create with and collaborate with. Suddenly, oh man, I'm seeing reflections of myself and the way that I really am. You know, relationship is here to teach us about who we really are and how we're showing up outside of our own echo chamber, and is here to highlight the ways in which we're not in integrity, right? We may think we're showing up one way, but then, you know, bring up a certain person that reminds me a lot of my mom, and then activates this childhood wound that then I start acting out in as an adult, unconsciously seeking your validation and attention because I feel at some level I need your love, because I feel like I don't have it from within myself. And oh man, and then it just gets really messy, and I'm unable to feel the level of depth and connection and presence that I want with you. And it becomes really challenging to create what I want to create with you. And so I'm a huge fan of creating space like retreats and even digital containers and trainings and Odyssey, these collectives where subtle energy, especially that we typically in our day-to-day life do not get the space to name or be with or work with or face directly, gets to be played with, gets to be named, gets to come up, gets to have permission to be fully felt and expressed and learned from, right? We get to go deeper. And so there's just so much in our lives and our societal conditioning that has taught us to avoid being with these feelings as they arise, especially in the moment. And I mean, I think of your little doggy, like most animals know, it's so intuitive when they get stuck with an energy or they feel a traumatic response, they let it go immediately. They feel it, they shake it, they make a sound. And I really believe that we as humans know this as well. As little babies, we did this, you know, at somewhere along the line we stopped though, because our social conditioning told us that it's weird, it makes people uncomfortable, it's people don't know what to do with that. You're too loud, you're too much, whatever the story is, we've all got one. And so this is what we're now remembering, is like our innate knowing, you know, of how to heal, how to, not even how to heal, just how to be whole.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, you can, you know, we're taught like don't move, just sit still. But yeah, we're also animals in our body. So we need to kind of, you know, just shake it out if that happens. But and at the same time, we're not just you know, we're human beings. And I think I feel that in your voice and your expression, you know, in those collective situations where we are with others, we also take responsibility for our reactions and our responses.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. It's really fresh, actually. It was a big healing opportunity yesterday, still integrating. So it's still integrating, and I just want to name that it's not like a complete insight.
Yeah.
And it threads back to Odyssey, actually. I think that's why it's
Mm-hmm.
coming up. I'd like to explore this with you. And I'm hosting a facilitator training right now, and there's a group of 10 extraordinary beings that are all called to do intuitive healing work, and we're working in the Akashic records. And it's a facilitator course, but it's also unfolding very much as a space to be with the energies that arise in practicing a new way of co-creating, right? So I'm a big fan of like flipping all of the conditioning we have on its head and naming it as it comes up. So for example,
Yes.
when we have a facilitator training and we show up to our first call, and maybe there's a conditioning in the group that me as the teacher, as the leader, I'm going to organize everything. I'm going to tell everybody what to do. I'm going to say what we're doing and when, and I'm going to call on people when they want to share. And just all of these ways we're conditioned to operate in a group, especially in a training or an educational container where there might be an implicit hierarchy, right? Or a sense of a power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've played that game for a really long time, as I know many of us have. And I have been over the last year really in more conscious exploration of a different way, a more natural way, a way in which all are called forth as true leaders, co-creators, co-facilitators. And in that process, so much comes up, right? It's like beyond what even words could we're learning the words that are able to describe this type of experience of, wow, when given all of this power, how do I show up? When showing up in a group of really luminous, powerful beings, do I take initiative to honor my truth? Do I lose touch with my sense of center? And all kinds of dynamics. And I love being in this exploration. And something that happened yesterday that was really edgy for me, that still feels a little sensitive, is, we're in free flow in our coherent field and we're sharing practice. And long story short, there was a moment where I became aware of the time, right? We have a agreed amount of time, 90 minutes. And as much as I set the tone for wanting to co-facilitate and co-create, I'm learning this like interplay of that presence, that awareness and acknowledgement, and also being an anchor of a field, or being somehow in a position to say, hey, like, I need to interrupt what's going on here, because I want to track that there's an agreed upon amount of time that we have to be together. And there's some important things I want to make sure we go over. It sounds so simple as I'm saying it right now, but in the moment where I actually interrupted two people in my group who were in the middle of a beautiful exchange, and the experience I went through of like 5 minutes before interrupting, feeling like you should interrupt them now, you should, but holding back and not wanting to interrupt, but feeling the intuitive impulse that whatever is occurring right now can be continued later, and that the energy the shift of focus needs to change right now. And that it is my place to say that. And can I just fully trust that impulse? Can I fully trust myself? Can I trust the guidance that comes through as my expression of my leadership? And without caring, or not caring, but without worrying about how that will impact other people's emotional experience, because I felt a very sensitive arousal of wounding that was present, and reflecting my own wounding of feeling not seen, of feeling not heard, of feeling shut down by a mentor, by a hierarchical authority figure. So there's so many intimate dynamics we bring forth, especially in group, especially when we're a powerful group of leaders that want to build things together. And so a seemingly simple interruption that I just shared with you ended up being this massive highlight of, for me, it's like a massive wound that came up a lot in Odyssey. And that was highlighted in my students around, wow, this is bringing up some wounding for me. And let's have a safe place to integrate and share the insights, the memories, the projections that come up, and in Odyssey, this was present in an awareness of like a conditioning I've developed to overshare my process with the group, in a very innocent desire to be an example of authentic, transparent leadership, right? And what I've always craved in leaders, when I can just see people wearing tons of masks and pretending to have it all together and being perfect, and just this pressure that comes with so much pressure. Like I can't even share until I have everything perfect. And who's perfect? That's an illusion. But then I I see myself over the years having all this practice and like swinging to the other end of the spectrum, which is almost experimenting with oversharing and sharing while I'm deep in a process, not having completed the insight, and probably maybe creating more confusion. And there's not a single way to look at this. I'm just sharing what's really present for me
Yes.
in this moment. This is all super present material. And I'm actually in a deep like forgiveness process of where I was in Odyssey. You know, there's a much bigger group of people, and I had so much come up around like this pressure I felt within myself to do it right, to make it all right, to care for everyone's experience, to make sure people were getting what they were promised. But in a weird way, I wanted to control the unfolding of harmony and coherence. I wanted to control it. I didn't trust. There were just so many energetics that were so brought forth in that. And I think maybe at many levels, we create what we're called to create in our lives, the art we create, the groups we create, the community we cultivate, the relationships we initiate. We create them to bring forth these inconsistencies in what we believe of ourselves and how we are actually showing up, or what we're ready to show up for.
Yeah, I mean, it exactly like you were saying, you know, when it's the magnifying glass, I think, on the collective level, you know, when it all came up, and it's almost like in this incubator, everything came up, and all the different challenges or whatever may stand in the way of actually a true harmonious unfolding. Because I think we're just trying to learn how to get there. You know, we're like in the infancy stage, perhaps, as our collective. And so it's almost like just this play where, you know, kids explore everything. They just want to learn whatever comes up their way and want to just like touch everything and toy and play with everything. So maybe that's where we are right now. How about that? We need to swing from like oversharing to just being that strong leader, and then again, and just, you know, and finally I feel like it's going to, for all of us, it's going to come into this beautiful coherent center to experience another level, and then we just go somewhere else from there.
Thank you for that reflection. Yeah, something I'm really learning. It's just it's all presence. It all comes down to presence. In true presence, everything is here. It's so clear. The path, the next step forward is so clear. The right word to say is so clear. There's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to strategize even.
Wow. Where are you envisioning those experiences that you're creating going this year?
Honestly, Monica, I'm in such a space of another lesson I'm really learning right now is like my tendency to get so excited. I see all these future timelines and potentials,
Yes.
and I'm given guidance on, you know, my role and what I'm here to serve in humanity, and this awakening is so, it's just getting so awesome. It's getting so good. I'm like, yes, I want to do that. Yes, I get to do that. Oh my God, that's going to happen. Yes. And can I let go of all of my attachment to the timeline in which that is occurring and plan it? Like I'm really finding perfect example. I got a super clear download of another offering that feels to be made through Odyssey, which is a new type of container for leaders to co-create, come together and play with the energy of money and investment in a new way. It came through so clear. It had been on my consciousness for weeks, and then I finally put it onto a website, and I felt so excited, and I felt so like, I felt the energy of the certain collaborators I wanted to call in, or that this container was calling forth. And I excitedly sent it out to lots of people and just said, wow, I'm really like, I want to know how people feel about this. It feels like, you know, wow, this is a new template. This is a new possibility for the way that we can create together. It feels really powerful. And then very quickly after sending that out, I felt like, wait a minute, I'm actually not available to host a container right now. And I'm even not available for some of the conversations that I initiated, you know, because I need to complete, I'm in such a process of completion. I'm completing a book. I'm completing some timelines actually from Odyssey regarding financial investment. There's just a lot of completion required and focus and discernment. And I'm not even fully committed to that as I say that to you. I'm like, and I'm so busy with all this other stuff I've allowed to unfold. And so I say all that to say, wow, I'm really being challenged by this invitation to be fully present with what's here and now. Because I sense that in our evolution, at least in the level of consciousness that I want to operate in with others and other co-creators, it is about radical presence and surrender and allowing and trusting in the organic unfolding of all that is needed at precisely the perfect time. And so I sense there's a big clearing of the slate required, right? To allow, again, these visions to anchor fully and to allow them to organically unfold. I get the sense that any efforting or a feeling of my attachment to certain things occurring at a certain time, it's like not the way to create anymore. That's a way I'm unlearning. And it almost feels like a mind trip because it's like, but that's not productive. And what's your plan? And what's coming up for the year? And it's almost like I just want to be completely blank and then to clean up the, completion again that I have in front of me, to just allow, I know that whatever's coming, I can feel it. It's very big and it's big vision and it's lots of collaboration and it's just so expansive and it's so bright. And I want to be fully open to receiving it.
Wow. Yes. It's so interesting. I actually was so one of the impulses why I had when I asked you to come in on the interview, I was actually thinking about the financial systems, and I was thinking like, I wonder what Sydney's thinking about it. Where is she seeing the vision? Where is she seeing the future? And interestingly, what you say right now, it's like we are, maybe there is a yearning, there is a big kind of a collective need to rework those systems that are so dysfunctional, and that we really crave that new reality, new future, but we're still at the stage where it's like everything needs to be cleared out, and like the field needs to open up and be cleared out of whatever obstacles are there, whatever old ways of thinking, and we're still in that process of chaos, I think, and clearing and cleaning the house. So yeah, that's interesting that you're mentioning that.
It's very alive. It's very, very alive. There's a lot of insight I've received around the shifts coming. But we must be careful to not attach ourselves to the external again, because as we internally shift, our own sense of what is truly valuable, and as we shift our own sense of our own innate value, the structures and systems that we've created to exchange value will organically change, will organically require and create something else. Yeah. And so I see a lot of people get excited about what are we going to develop as the new infrastructure and the new system and the new cryptocurrency and the, and okay, yeah, but do your inner work. Do your inner work, because you can create a whole new system and it could theoretically seem great. A lot of people are creating a lot of great new technology and it's all exciting and shiny and awesome. But it won't land. It won't take shape fully. It won't resonate if the consciousness of the people using it doesn't change, doesn't shift, doesn't evolve, And so it's always an inside job, right? And I even get really excited about the externals. And even in this container I created, or that came through for Odyssey, like it was such a great experiment to put. So I guess I shared this as an example, like for those of us all getting these downloads and these big ideas about the future potentials, like share them, like write them down, make a website. Like that for me was such a good exercise in playing the whole tape through, like, okay, this is the container. And then I just sent it out, and maybe it's not meant to be a container and it's not meant to happen on those dates. And I don't have any attachment now to that happening. But the exercise of going through it as though it was something I was invested in, having happen, and then sharing it and feeling the experience of how it landed with people, and then seeing how there's just more questions that arise, and then seeing it instead as, oh, it's a discussion piece, actually. Like I did my part, which was maybe to just set a new template reality in motion, right? A new potential of this container, this possibility. But I have no attachment to this occurring. And I actually share this now as a discussion piece that I would like to just organically explore with whoever feels a calling to explore this with me in a way that just feels really natural. And that even like I'm sensitive to the conditioning I have as a facilitator to create containers with 5 calls each week and all these rules. And when really I find myself feeling really resistant actually to that style now, because so much happens in a day. I'm rescheduling things left and right. Because what felt like a good idea 2 weeks ago, suddenly the date shows up and I'm like energetically hungover from all that I'm processing and experiencing. And I can no longer feel fully present or aligned. It's not authentic for me to do the thing that was agreed upon, And then comes the question of, then why am I scheduling at all? And then I'm grateful for how somehow our schedule right here today worked out really well. Like certain things are totally in alignment, but certain things are not. And so it's okay to let those go. And even if it's an hour before, to say, hey, I really don't feel like doing this right now, and I'd like to do it another time. And can we be holding each other and ourselves with that level of compassion and flexibility? And that is a key to presence. That's a key to true presence, like letting people really say what they need and honor it and honor each other. And then we can meet when it feels good. And it might be like in the most unexpected moment that the most miraculous exchange comes forth, because you're fully there. You're fully there instead of showing up because I had to and I agreed upon this and the other person's expecting me. And 99% of the time when I tell someone I don't feel like doing something anymore and can we reschedule, they're usually like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Yes. Yes, I do know. Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow. It's so liberating. I think this is what's beautiful for me, like what's happening right now, that we just like, and this is the theme of this conversation. I feel like we're allowing ourselves to be more of who we are as humans, as beings. And we're just letting go more and more of those external standards and like artificial restrictions and things that we had to do and we thought we had to do, because really it's not within our essence. But I think the time will come when we create those beautiful guidelines that will be aligned with our essence and who we truly are. It's just that right now it's sort of everything's in a flux still, we're still working it out. And so it's okay to just let go of, because now we're letting go of the old stuff. So it's okay to let go of like, oh, I was scheduled on this or that. Why don't I just let it go? Because it doesn't feel good. It's okay.
I love this. What I hear is just, there's nothing to feel bad about. There's nothing to feel bad about, like just take care of yourself. Just honor yourself. Honor what you need. When we all truly, authentically honor what we need, and we take full responsibility for feeling supported and taken care of, we naturally honor everyone else. We do. We really do. That's why when I cancel stuff, it's like it was already in the field, the synchronicity to cancel and open that space, that new potential for the other people involved, because we're that connected. We are in unity. As we honor ourselves, we cannot help but be in unity, our natural state.
Wow, that is a beautiful reminder. Just remembering that we are all in its collaborating and co-creating together. So what feels maybe odd or awkward or painful inside of me, it's really a reflection of others as well. So if I honor it and be grateful and just let it go, it's like a huge service to everybody.
Wow, what you said is really powerful. Wow, and I'm like fully receiving that, because it comes up a lot and I want to really receive that fully, that message. It comes back to what came through in the beginning of our conversation, like honoring our pure being and readjusting the way that we learn to value ourselves and value our contribution, value our presence. Our value is not defined by what we're necessarily doing outwardly in a material sense. It's our presence, and even the energy that we devote to our own healing is so impactful on the whole, on the collective, on everyone. Like, could we imagine that when we take the courageous journey in spending time with ourselves to really feel whatever's coming up and completing whatever lessons are there, we literally set into motion a whole new field of possibility for other people. Like I really feel I'm starting to become more sensitive to this than ever, like how interconnected we are in this field of consciousness. When I heal a rift, a confusion, a pain within myself, I am literally radiating this healing out that goes through the whole field of the whole collective, and no one will even know about it. No one will even be consciously aware, you know, and that's okay. But it literally is going out, like we're sending that potential out to everyone.
Yes, we are. Yes. And how would that be otherwise? You know, how could we assume, how it's so funny, how have we ever assumed that we are disconnected, that we are not together in one collective field?
Mm-hmm.
That actually sounds actually weird to think about it that way.
You're
That we
right.
might, yeah, because it is a collective field. It's, you know, we live in this beautiful universe of particles vibrating, and we don't vibrate separately.
It's all funny, right? It's all the paradoxical illusion
Mm-hmm.
of separateness. It's all, and it gets really funny. The deeper you go, the funnier it gets. Like, how could that doesn't even make any sense. But
No, but it's also a game, you know. It's what we're
yes.
playing. It's there's nothing wrong with it. It's just,
Mm,
and we just, I feel like we're really ready, like at least at a certain timeline, you know. I don't know, maybe it's maybe on a different timeline than other people. I don't even go in there because it's like not my business
mhm,
almost, you know what I mean.
mm,
But I feel like collectively we are ready for a new experience, and that just, it's so uplifting
mm.
and exciting.
Monica, I want to ask you what's alive for you and present in your journey and path and healing, and like what's coming up for you lately?
Mhm. I really resonated with what you said about the magnifying glass, and how much this whole year has been just like, I felt like I was under this huge magnifying glass, and every single piece of like painful, stuck energy that ever was here in this body would just like come up. and 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 I think of what I've learned this year, we've been talking about it. I've learned this year that, you know, I don't have to blame myself. I don't have to feel guilty or bad about that. Maybe I have those feelings and I have those dissonant energies. And it's just like learning more and more self-compassion. I think that's what's been coming up, you know, and just enjoying and allowing myself to reach out to people and see, hey, there's such an amazing wealth of wisdom and beautiful beings like yourself, Sydney, and that I've had this incredible honor to have connected over like last many years. And like I've had this craving of like just reaching out to different people and just reconnecting and talking with them for whatever reason it is, you know. So that's been coming up for me. That's where I
Mm.
live right now. A lot of magnifying glass cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And then just honoring the incredible wealth of resources and wisdom and heart and compassion in people that I've met along the way.
Mm.
And I feel very privileged about that.
Mm. Yeah, it's such an honor. It's an honor to just share space and explore and play with each other, and there's so much healing and remembering that happens. You know, it's such a
Mm-hmm.
transmission that's created. And I want to ask you about self-compassion. How do you practice that with, like, how do you experience, because I'm always in that practice too. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
recovering over criticizer, judger, like hardcore. And how do you practice your self-compassion? How does that arise for you?
I think it's more organic. It's not even intellectual. There's no much words about it, but just allowing the
Mm.
space of like having this quiet time of just, you know, either sitting down or laying down and just embracing everything in just love,
Mm.
and like really making. I think there is a part of, I have to make an effort to allow myself to like reconnect with my, what feels like more true vibration, and that there is no pain in there. And like if I
Mm.
allow that to come out, it's just like everything's just being held.
Mm.
And and just like joy and gratitude. I've been really practicing just saying thank you for everything that happened. Yeah. So like simple things, honestly, like just saying thank you, or just laughing, being finding the joy, and even like looking back at those little children that I used to be, all those little wounded children. It's like they at some point they just, when they feel healthy and seen, they come out and they just laugh and play, because that's what we are, so it's like really a visual process. Like, yeah, let's come up, I know you've been hurt, I know you've been crying and felt bad and felt hurt, and maybe you were angry, but this is all good, I'm here for you. And then they come up and they start laughing, it's so fast. I think there's some of that child, like if you connect with the child inside of you, and you connect with that inner child, it's like they process energy just like animals, it's really fast. So there's a part of it. Yeah. So again, it's like there's a lot of different tools. Like, I don't think there's one way.
I love hearing about your experience, and I'm learning to give myself permission to really rest. And like, I'm learning since moving to Maui in December, it's a whole different energy here than anywhere I've ever lived. And it's so slow and it's so clear. The field here is so clear. The air is so clean. There's such a potent feeling of peace. And after living in cities and Bali and kind of these really activating places and traveling for the last few years, it hit me like a shock actually arriving here. It felt so good. It felt like home. I've been here so many times. It felt so resonant with my true vibration. But it also highlighted all of the ways of being that I was so deeply enmeshed in, of like moving, like an inability to sit, to truly be still, and highlighting how much my mind is on overdrive, and just in a way I had never noticed. With all the work I've done, with all the meditations, with all the retreats, with everything, with all the yoga, it's like I felt like I was on drugs or something almost. I felt like I was on speed when I arrived here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm moving way too fast. This is really freaky.
Wow.
And it's been a nervous system attunement. It's like a nervous system attunement being here and learning to be, as you said, in my home vibration, and feeling held by myself, and feeling at home in myself in a way I never have before. And it's brought up a lot. It's brought up a lot in that process to really be with, and to celebrate, to be grateful for, to mourn, to grieve. It's deep layers. And I know we've all been going through this, that very specific timeline of like December to now has been a really potent time for all of us, and just investigating ourselves and getting really honest.
Yeah. Yes. And I think a lot, when you talk about Maui, it also speaks about how incredibly sensitive we are to our environment and to where we are and what we connect with. Again, we're not just in it alone.
Yeah. It's so cool being here.
Yeah. Wow.
Someday I'll open up a magical space. This is in the near future. I will be opening up a space here that is going to be like a 5th dimensional retreat space.
Wow. I got vibes.
Yeah, because it's happening. It's already done. It's already been done. It's occurring. It is really literally going to happen. It's like the infrastructure for it is available now. Plans are in the works. And it will be a space, it will be a portal where people can come and feel the field here. There's a certain like energy of being, I feel, that's called to be here actually. And it has roots in the ancient Hawaiian energy in that field, and deep connection with like galactic consciousness, and just like, wow, like such pristine clarity. And what I love about being here so much is especially after living in LA and New York and some of these places where people are really about, where I was really about like image and my brand and all that stuff,
Right.
my story and all that. And what I find here that's so refreshing and what I really resonate more with and what I want to cultivate more within myself is this like humility, this profound humility that I notice in so many beings that are here on the island that are like some of the most masterful teachers I've ever met. And like, talented body workers and healers and psychics, and just everyone is so telepathic. It's almost a little bit scary sometimes when you like catch someone listening in and it's like, whoa, I didn't want you to listen to that. But there's such a humility. There's such a realness and authenticity. There's nothing to prove. People aren't like peddling their wares. There's just a being and a knowing that we're all actually advanced beings, like every human. There's just this affirmation that all humans are masters that I really feel here to a deep degree, that I feel is an important template being anchored for the world right now. That each being can awaken to their inherent mastery, to their divinity, to their genius gifts.
Wow, I really feel chills when you're talking about the space opening in Maui, and you can feel that energy just coming from you. It's truly just so soothing and beautiful. Wow.
Can't wait for you to visit. It'll be great.
Yeah, I would love to visit. Oh my God, I just feel
Yeah.
so, that feels like paradise, like heaven on earth. So
Yes.
beautiful. You're actually creating that. Wow. So I hope you're gonna keep us all posted about that.
A lot of changes are happening, my friends. A lot of big changes are happening, a lot of big
Yeah.
opening. I mean, really anything is possible. Anything, absolutely anything and everything is possible. And we can create whatever we want. We really can. And instantaneous resources emerge. When you're in alignment with going after the thing that you know is yours to create, it will be effortless.
Yes, yes. So if you find yourself struggling and you find like, oh, I'm really struggling with this and I can't seem to have it in order, maybe that's not the pathway to take, right?
Usually.
Yeah. Unless you want that experience though, but
unless you have an identity and a story that's really invested in that path, there might be time to let that go.
Yeah, well, it's your choice. Wow, it's amazing. It's such a pleasure to just partake in your amazing energy, Sydney. I'm like, wow, just wowed.
Oh, you
Yes.
too.
Is there anything you would like to share with us and leave the guests with anything that they can take with them and unwrap as they go?
Yeah, just have fun. Do whatever it is that you love to do and have fun. It's that simple. Your purpose, your path, all this stuff that usually causes so much pressure and stress. What if it's all meant to be really fun? What if you just listen to what's really fun and what you love and give yourself the space to do that more and more and more until all the time you're doing that? And then your life is awesome.
Wow. Love it.
Right?
I love your laugh. I always remember you just laughing. Beautiful.
There's a lot to laugh about. Life is pretty funny.
It is funny. It is so joyful. And it's, we can totally have it. We can have just love, joy, and light if we choose and just move towards that direction. And it's, with people like you, Sydney, who just bring that alive, I think it's such an amazing gift for all of us to resonate with and make our lives more beautiful, because we resonate with each other, so we give example. So it's very simple. Wow. Well, I mean, thank you so much for being here with us, and I hope that everybody took something that really truly resonated with their heart and will feel truly inspired and have that spark of joy and laughter and fun just cultivated in your heart.
Yes.
Remember Sydney, yes, remember Sydney's laugh. And yeah, I know there is that people can connect with you over your website, right? And I'm going to share that. And is there any other way that you may want people to reach out, if at all? Or
That's a great place. And I have a
Mhm.
podcast, Visionary Souls podcast, and
Yeah,
I would like to include this conversation on there so that all the listeners can
thank
tune
you.
in, and we'll get your sweet bio, Monica, so I can do a nice intro for you and share. And, that's really what I love, sharing like this. I love sharing like this.
Yes.
I'm finishing a book project, which will come out in the end of this year. And it's an important thing to complete. It'll be awesome to share. It's called The Consciousness Code, and it's an 8-step path to awakening your highest self.
Wow.
And it's time for it to be done soon. So I just want to plant that seed in the field of like completion is happening. I can't wait to share that with everyone. And really, that's really it. Yeah. There's so much shifting in the way that I serve. And I'm like moving at, I guess I feel called to share, like, for years, I've been doing lots of one-on-one coaching and running retreats. And there's just been this whole identity of like the coach and even like the marketing strategist and all these roles. And I'm really enjoying the unfoldment now of like, okay, what's here and now? Like, how do I want to contribute? And, and noticing how I like to play and how I like to have fun seems to naturally be of service to many people. Even in your reflection that my laugh is really healing, and I get that reflection all the time. And
Yes.
I guess I just feel like sharing that and acknowledging that for all of us. Like, maybe the thing that we just really love and that's so fun for us, it can't help but be supportive, and it can't help but be a contribution, to humanity, to awakening, to more love.
Wow. So beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much, Sydney.
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate you and just appreciate you.
Yes, all the same, sister. Thank you so much for your reflection, and congratulations on listening to your call to, like you said, just connect and connect with all the support and have amazing conversations with people you love. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank
It's been an
you.
absolute honor and a privilege and so much fun.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you again and wishing you all the best, and just so delighted that you're in your home in Maui right now.
Mm.
Beautiful.